Hello YouTube, welcome back to another episode of Driving and the News. Today is the first day of August. That's August 1, 2023. If you are landing on this video from the future, let's say from 2030, 2035, 2040, or the year 2050. This is the year 2023. My name is Freddie Cardona, and we are uploading daily snippets of the news in the New York Metropolitan area. We know that these videos are not very exciting. However, I do feel that it's important that we record our history. And someone actually commented that it would be a good idea to get all these videos that we've uploaded since September of 2022. It's a good idea to probably store them in different media so that they can be be available for future generations, especially if YouTube ends up shutting down or if something happens with the internet or whatever. I thought that was a pretty neat idea. I just wouldn't know how to go about it. But it is important to record our history. And I mentioned this in yesterday's broadcast that I wish I'd have started this in January 2020. Why I said January? January 2020. If I'd have done that, we would have documented the entire pandemic from beginning to end. And you could have gone to any random day in 2020 and just to hear what was going on at that time. Especially if, from what I remember, there used to be numbers, how many people, sadly, how many people were infected, how many people sadly passed away. So rest in peace, continue resting in peace, all those victims that didn't make it through the pandemic. And it's not to make light of it or to diminish what happened in the pandemic, but I feel that it would have been very important to document that. All right, let's get you the news for today.
Team of professionals who will stand beside you and do everything possible to get you to the finish line so that you can move on with your life.
Let me fix the camera a little bit. Get you a good framing. There we go. Filmmaking 101. Get the scene framed correctly. Filmmaking 101. So we started with a commercial. Or online at 1-800-NOW-HURT.com.
WINS FM in HD1 New York. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Another really pleasant day weather-wise. We've got the sun, some clouds, a high of 80, and low humidity. More people get their news from 1010 Winds than from any other radio station in the nation. Sharon Barnes-Waters is our service aide. Jim Maloney is at the editor's desk. And I'm Bud Mishkin.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good morning, 69 degrees. It is 7 o'clock on this Tuesday, August 1st. I'm Susan Richard, and here's what's happening. Another court appearance today in Riverhead for the Gilgo Beach suspect. As migrants take to sleeping on the streets, and help is on the way from DoorDash. Our Glenn Shuck coming up. Donald Trump again predicting he's about to face another indictment. Meantime, GOP presidential rivals accuse him of scamming donors. We'll tell you why. Tributes pouring in for Pee Wee Herman actor Paul Reubens, who died following a long battle with cancer. And a 110-year-old animal shelter in New York City makes a major move. In sports, Yankees lost to Tampa Bay at the World Cup. U.S. women get a scoreless tie with Portugal. They will advance to the next round. AccuWeather partly sunny. Today's high 80. Winds News Time 7:01. Traffic and transit with Karen Stewart.
We're still in quite the state on the Van Wyck Expressway. The southbound Van Wyck, all the way down there at Nassau Expressway, has an accident blocking 2 lanes. Excuse me. We are jammed from back at the Kew Gardens interchange. Now, the northbound Van Wyck at Liberty has an accident there too, and the delays in that case go down to the Belt Parkway. Eastbound BQE by the Kosciuszko Bridge, we've got an accident blocking a lane there. There are some eastbound delays building into the area now. We've also got eastbound delays getting up into Metropolitan Avenue from back at Flushing Avenue. The westbound BQE from Flushing down to Atlantic is slow, while the inbound Gowanus to the BQE eastbound is tied up a bit, traveling from the Prospect and going into Atlantic Avenue. The westbound LIE is heavy now from Casino Boulevard out into Grand Avenue. And if you're heading over to the East River crossings, we've got no problems. The 59th Street Bridge, the RFK is starting to slow down. The lower east, the inbound Brooklyn Battery Tunnel is the slowest there. And if you're traveling the Hudson River, 25 is the number inbound Howland Lake and George. The inbound George Lower has an accident, and that's blocking at least one lane. Your Odyssey Lottery recap is presented by Jack Pocket. Powerball is 95 million. Mega is 1.5 billion. Order official state lottery games on your phone. Must be 18 or older to play. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem or wants help, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Traffic and transit every 10 minutes around the clock. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
2 o'clock this afternoon, Gilgo Beach suspect Rex Heuermann goes back before a judge in Riverhead. There's word his lawyer might ask that bail be set, but that's not expected to be granted. Heuermann is charged with both first and second-degree murder in the deaths of 3 of the women whose remains were found near Gilgo Beach in 2010. He's also considered the prime suspect in a 4th murder. Meantime, his wife is now back in the family home in Massapequa Park, where police have completed their search.
Boxes and boxes of household items piled high and a large hole cut out from the bottom of a bathtub. The mess uncovered during a 12-day search of the property by investigators looking for evidence against 59-year-old Rex Heuermann. His estranged wife, Asa Ellerup, telling ABC News, everything is destroyed. It's worse than glass breaking on the floor. She says she and her children were blindsided by Heuermann's arrest and their home was left in shambles. Telling the New York Post, my pictures were thrown all over the place. My couch was completely shredded.
That's correspondent Derek Dennis. One day after we reported migrants sleeping on the street outside the Roosevelt Hotel, a warning from Mayor Adams that we may see even more of that. The migrants, meantime, could get some help from a private company.
I'm seeing many of the same faces that I saw here yesterday morning. Dozens of migrant men either sleeping along the sidewalk or already lined up to try to get answers as to where they could be headed. But Mayor Adams says the answers are not good. The future days don't look promising.
From this moment on, it's downhill. There is no more room. I was at the Roosevelt on Saturday, and I went there on Sunday. Lined up around the block, hurting the businesses there.
To try to ease the situation, DoorDash announcing a free immigrant legal clinic for their delivery workers in partnership with Jody Ziesmer and the New York Legal Assistance Group.
We're going to hold an event in person serving between 20 and 30 of the DoorDashers, and then we'll stand from there.
In the last 24 hours here, several busloads of migrant families have arrived here at the Roosevelt. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, 92.3 FM at 45th and Vanderbilt.
There's been a fatal shooting in Brooklyn. A 25-year-old gunned down at 309 McDougal Street in Bed-Stuy. So far, no arrests or word on a motive. The identity of the victim is pending family notification. Getting drivers to slow down, that's the goal for State Senator Andrew Gennardis, who's introducing a bill that would require certain drivers to...
I just heard that when he said getting drivers to slow down, and a car just zoomed by me on the left because it didn't want to wait for me to wait. It didn't want to wait for me while I waited for a passenger or a pedestrian was getting ready to cross the street. Luckily, the passenger decided not to cross. So yeah, that was dangerous to zoom around like that, especially if that passenger decided to cross on a crosswalk. 1010
Wins. These devices have been shown to reduce traffic deaths by as much as 37%. Feeling itchy this summer? Well, you might have swimmer's itch. This is a rash caused by an allergic reaction to microscopic parasites that are released from snails into fresh and salt water. Yeah, it's been a problem this season in parts of Connecticut. In fact, the Greenwich Health Department's issued a warning about it. They note that it is not contagious. It can be treated with corticosteroid creams, Epsom salts, baking soda, and other anti-itch remedies. U.S. News and World Report now out with their latest list of the nation's best hospitals. Managing editor Ben Harder.
The main thing that we want to be measuring and helping patients understand are the outcomes that hospitals achieve. And so we have complex statistical algorithms that we apply to millions of records of patient encounters with hospitals to understand which hospitals are getting better outcomes than we would expect.
The Cleveland Clinic ranked #1 for cardiology, heart, and vascular surgery. It's NYU Langone Hospitals for neurology and neurosurgery. Also making their honor roll, North Shore University Hospital and Northwell Health in Manhasset. You can get the full list at usnews.com. Such a nice day. 69 degrees now, mostly sunny. The humidity 60%. The winds are north at 7. Sun and clouds this afternoon. The high 80 degrees. Then partly cloudy, comfortable tonight. 64 in town, upper 50s in the burbs. Tomorrow, sunshine back to 80. 67 now in Long Beach. You're at 69 and mostly sunny in Central Park. Winds news time 7:07. Donald Trump taking to social media to say that he's anticipating yet another indictment any day now. This would be in the January 6th investigation, in which the former president received a letter earlier this month notifying him that he's a target. Separately, there's also the probe in Georgia, which is looking into his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. A judge there knocking down a preemptive move by Trump's lawyers.
The judge rejected President Trump's request to disqualify the district attorney and her office from investigating him. He also asked the judge to block the use of any of the evidence gathered by this special grand jury. The judge ruled that Trump didn't have legal standing because no charges have been brought against him yet.
That's CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. Meantime, Trump's Republican presidential rivals accuse him of scamming donors.
Prosecutions now the driving issue of Trump's own presidential campaign. We're learning that Trump used tens of millions of dollars in donations from his supporters to pay his legal bills. Campaign finance filings poised to reveal that his PAC spent more than $40 million to pay lawyers. The bills soaring so high that the PAC had to request a refund of $60 million it had sent to another group that supports Trump.
That's correspondent Pierre Thomas. Congress has gone on summer recess, but not 3 House committees, which have now launched an investigation into the Justice Department's plea deal with Hunter Biden. That was put on hold by a judge last week. This week, the House Judiciary, Oversight, and Ways and Means committees all sent a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland demanding information about that deal. Also on Monday, the Oversight Committee heard in a special closed-door hearing from a former business partner of the president's son.
According to lawmakers who were in the room, Devin Archer told them that Hunter Biden would often put his father on the phone. Democratic Congressman Dan Goldman said the two never spoke about business during those calls. Instead, he said Archer described the calls involving President Biden as casual niceties like the weather. And the White House has long said that President Biden and his son were never in business together.
That's Aaron Katursky reporting. A Long Island man lucky to be alive pulled from the Atlantic after treading water for more than 5 hours.
He just kept saying, I thought I was a goner. I thought I was a goner.
That's fisherman Michael Ross, who spotted 63-year-old Dan Ho of Copeg. Ho had gone for a swim early Monday at Cedar Beach in Babylon, but got pulled out by the current. He managed to find a fishing pole and tied his shirt to it. Ross and a friend saw him more than 2.5 miles from shore.
He was just treading water, praying that some boat would come by, and I can tell you there were no boats in the area. I mean, not for miles.
Ho was conscious when he was pulled out, but he had to be treated for hypothermia. Tim Burton.
Okay, I don't want to have commercial music playing. I don't want to get a copyright strike.
Calling him a brilliant comedian. The actor and comedian best known as Pee Wee Herman has died at the age of 70.
Paul Reubens apologized to his fans for not going public about his cancer battle. That according to a statement posted on social media after Reubens' death. He revealed he'd been fighting cancer for 6 years and loved his fans and friends and loved making art for them. The statement from his rep said that Reubens passed Sunday night.
I meant to do that.
Best known for the character Pee Wee Herman, a childlike Peter Pan type that Reubens cultivated and played for years. He was a 3-time Emmy nominee with over 120 acting credits, from the movie Blow with Johnny Depp.
Hello, Tuna. Enchanté, George.
To more recently, The Connors and The Blacklist. Jason Nathanson, ABC News. Hollywood.
69 degrees now. It's mostly sunny. Humidity 60%. Winds north at 7. We're at 69, going up to 80 today in Central Park. Now this message injured.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on my morning commute for today, August 1, 2023. We'll see you on the next video.